Egyptian mythology, the creation of humanity. The creation of humanity does not occupy a central position in Egyptian myth. Some creation accounts omit humans altogether. They are only mentioned in passing in the Memphite theology, listed between gods and cattle. The Egyptians sometimes divided sentient beings into four types: gods, kings, the spirit of the dead, and living people. The pyramid texts of the Old Kingdom concentrate on the afterlife of the king and have little to say about living people, so it is not surprising that they contain no allusions to myths about the creation of humanity. Some myths seem to have been well established by the time of the Middle Kingdom. Several spells in the coffin text include speeches referring to the creation of humanity. In coffin text spells 1130, the Lord of all says that he created deities from his sweat and people from the tears of my eye. Everything that came from a god's body was deemed to be divine, capable of creative power, as with the sneezing and spitting that produced Shu and Tefnut. Wordplay is involved. The Egyptian words for people and for tears were homophones. They sounded similar, although they would have been written differently. Most such mythical wordplay was ephemeral or relatively insignificant, but the association of people with divine tears was a popular theme for over 2000 years. Several different traditions about the tears of the creator are discernible, even in Middle Kingdom writings. In coffin text spell 80, these tears belong to the period of pre-creation. Humanity, it says, came forth from the soul eye, which was sent out while the created atom was still alone and inert in the primeval waters. The cause of the eye's weeping is not stated, but it may be from loneliness, as it searches for other things. The potential to produce humans is contained in the eye, but they cannot come into existence until the world has been created. This is described later in the text, when Shu separates the earth and sky and gives the breath of life to all creatures on earth, including people, in accordance with the command of Atum. So Atum wills the creation of humanity, but another deity carries it out. In Coffin's text spell 714, humanity is said to have sprung from tears wept by the Creator because of the anger against him. Tears that caused a temporary state of blindness. This may be a reference to the rage of the soul eye when she discovers that the Creator has grown a new eye in her absence. The Creator's blindness implies a temporary loss of his power of creative insight or perception. Humanity is the imperfect product of rage and misery, a genesis suited to the rebellious role humanity plays in mythical history. One hymn to the Creator states that humanity came forth from the two divine eyes, which are the sun and the moon. In the account of creation in the Brahma ruined papyrus, people originate in the tears wept by the Creator on the return of Shu and Tefnut. It is not clear whether these are tears of joy at the reunion with his children or tears of sorrow at the angry reaction of the solar eye. In the cosmogony of Neith, the sun god Ra is said to weep when he is first born because he finds himself alone and unable to see his mother. It is these tears of sorrow and loneliness that produce humanity. In contrast, deities arise as a byproduct of Ra's joy when his mother Neith returns. So most versions of the tears myth provide an explanation for the perpetually sorrowful and imperfect state of humanity. In spite of this impassion, the Creator was said to have done many things to help humanity. In Coffin text 1130, the Lord of all describes his four good deeds. These were to create the four winds, to give the breath of life to everybody, to make the annual Nile flood so that everyone would get enough food, to create everyone with equal potential, and to make every person's heart remember the West. This last deed implies that from the beginning, humans were destined for an eternal life in the beautiful West, the realm of the dead. A Middle Kingdom text set in the turbulent First Intermediate period compares humanity with a flock and the Creator with the God Shepherd who cares for them. For the sakes he made heaven and earth and drove away the rapacity of the waters, so that the nostrils should live. He made the winds, they are images of him, come forth from his flesh. For their sakes he rises in heaven. For them he made plants and flocks. New Kingdom helps to the Creator God Amun also refer to God making people in his own image, but are vague about how this was done. In a hymn to Pita, this God is said to have crafted people, as well as fashioning the physical forms of the gods. The bodies of deities were usually said to be made of precious metals and stones, but those of people were made from mud or clay. These were the materials used by the creator god Khnum, who formed all his on his potter's wheel. Khnum did not perform this task just once during the first time. His wheel was said to have turned every day. He appears to be a god of continuous creation, working to make the bodies of all creatures destined to live on earth. Khnum shapes a body for each individual before they are born and a double for their ka or vital force. Hymns in the temple of Esna elaborate on his idea. They list all the parts of the human body created by Khnum and the functions they are to perform, such as the tongue for speaking and the legs for walking. The list includes both male and female body parts. The Egyptian word for people used in creation text was normally written with pictures of a man and a woman following the phonetic part of the word. Humanity seems to have been divided into two genders from the beginning. This is in contrast to other ancient mythologies that made human an afterthought or an offshoot of the male body. One surviving text may suggest the existence of a myth of this type. This is the New Kingdom story known as the Two Brothers. After being falsely accused of trying to rape his brother's wife, Bata goes to live in a remote valley where he meets the Aenid of Heliopolis. These nine gods decide to give Bata a wife to relieve his loneliness. Khnum shapes a woman with a body more beautiful than any other, and the divine exhalations of the Aenid given her life. This perfect woman soon leaves Bata to marry the king of Egypt, and subsequently murders her husband in several of his incarnations. In this story, a woman seems to be regarded as intrinsically flawed. Much the same could be said, however, the most categories of being in the Egyptian universe, even the creator was not always all powerful or all knowing.